and welcome to the class of economics. Today we will start chapter 7, that is revenue, chapter 8 which is eliminated by the board, that is producers equilibrium. So, we are not going to finish that. So, these are the contents which we are going to finish today, that is meaning of revenue, concept of revenue, relationship between various revenue concept and curves. So, starting with meaning of revenue, whenever we say revenue, it is actually the amount which is received by the firm or by any enterprises after selling a particular quantity or output. So, revenue can be referred to as amount received by a firm from the sale of given quantity of a commodity or output, whatever he wanted to sell. So, if the firm is going to sell that quantity of a commodity or output, whatever amount which he received from the customers, that will, or receipt, that will be called as a revenue in the market in a given period. So, the concept of revenue, if we say, it consists of three terms, that is total revenue, average revenue and marginal revenue. That means revenue can be classified into these three concepts. So, starting with total revenue, when we say total revenue, that means the total amount which is received or receipt after selling a particular quantity of a commodity, or we can call the total money receipt of a firm from the sale of a given amount of output is known as total revenue. And we can calculate total revenue as price into quantity. That means whatever quantity we wanted to sell into the per unit price of that particular product, and we will get total revenue. For example, if a firm sells 100 shares, that means if imaginary, if we see that there is a firm who wanted to sell or who sold 100 shares at a price of ₹200 each, that means the firm is going to sell each share at the price of ₹200, and if the firm has sold 100 shares at price 200 per share, then the total revenue will be quantity, that is of 100 share, into price, that is 200, and we will get 20,000 as total revenue. So, total revenue can be calculated as the sum of all marginal revenue, that is sum of marginal revenue of all units which are sold. And what is marginal revenue? The revenue which we get after selling each additional unit. So, total revenue can be a summation, that means total revenue can be calculated as sum of all marginal revenue or summation of marginal revenue. It means total revenue of nth unit, that means the quantity, total quantity which we are going to sell can be calculated as marginal revenue of first unit which is sold, then second, then third, and so on up to an limit which the firm wanted to sell. Second is average revenue, as we talk about. So, average revenue is per unit of revenue which is received after selling of a given amount of output. That means whatever amount of output which firm is going to sell, so the per unit amount or per unit price which is received by the firm after selling each unit, that will be called as average revenue. And this sellers receive this revenue according to price, that means whatever price he is charging for selling that particular product in the market at a given period of time. So, we can say that price and average revenue are same. Say for example, if a firm is wanted to sell 2 chairs, 3 chairs or 100 chairs. So, whatever price he is charging for per unit price of that chair, that is ₹100, say for example. So, each 100 as it is coming, this will be the average revenue. So, we can call that, we can say hence that price and average revenue are one and the same thing, but we can prove this with the help of this equation, that if we see total revenue is quantity into price. That means total revenue, if we wanted to calculate, we can get after this quantity which we are selling into the per unit price, and average revenue is total revenue divided by quantity. So, if we try to put the value of total revenue, from equation 1 to equation 2, that means if we wanted to merge this value of total revenue from equation 1, this one, to equation 2, what we will get is average revenue is equal to quantity into price divided by quantity. So, we can call, and this formula is actually price. So, we can call it average revenue and price are all the same. Why? Because here when we equate both the equation, then this common point, that is total revenue, is being cut, and we get this equation, average revenue is equal to quantity into price divided by quantity. If we cut both these common factors, then what we will get? Average revenue is equal to price. So, hence we can say that average revenue and price, it is same. For example, if total revenue from the sale of 100 chairs at a price of rupees 200 per chair is rupees 20,000, that means this is the total amount which total revenue which is received by the firm. If we assume that average revenue and price are the same according to this equation, then average revenue will be 200 and price is also 200. So, we can say that average revenue and price is just same. Now, third concept is marginal revenue. Marginal revenue is the additional revenue which is generated from the sale of one additional unit. That means every time when the firm is trying to sell one additional single unit, whatever amount which is adding to the previous one, that will be called as the marginal revenue. That is, we can calculate this marginal revenue as total revenue of nth unit minus total revenue of n minus 1. That is the previous to the later one. If we subtract, then we will get marginal revenue, where marginal revenue of nth unit is this one. Total revenue of n means total revenue from n units, whatever is sold. Then total revenue of n minus 1, this one, and number of units which is sold. For example, let us explain this. If the total revenue received from sale of 100 chair is 20,000, okay, and that from sale of 110th chair, that means if a firm is selling 100 chairs at a price of 200, the total revenue which he will receive is 20,000. So, if a firm wanted to sell 110th chair, which is rupees 30,000, the marginal revenue of the 110th chair will be like this, that is marginal revenue of 110th chair is equal to total revenue of 110 minus total revenue of 100th chair. So, what will be the marginal revenue of 110th chair which we wanted to have is 30,000 minus 20,000, that is 10,000 we will receive. This is marginal revenue, and this way we can calculate it. Now, let us understand the all three concepts of average revenue, marginal revenue and total revenue as relationship. What is the relationship between the schedule and the curves and the concept? So, we can have this as first relationship is between average revenue and marginal revenue, but the condition arises that when price is constant, that means when price is constant, what is the relationship between average revenue and marginal revenue? When price remains same at all level of output, as you can see, these are units which are sold, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 units total he sold. So, price, or we can call it average revenue, both are same because, so price is constant, that is 10 rupees per unit of price. Total revenue which we will get is after multiplying the quantity into price, and we will get total revenue. How we are going to get marginal revenue? As the total revenue of n minus total revenue of n minus 1. That means the later with the previous one we will get all 10 each, that is marginal revenue is also constant. Why? Because price is or average revenue is same or constant at all level of output. So, when price remains same at all output levels, the firm cannot influence the prevailing market price. That means firm cannot change the prevailing market price which is there to sell the product. So, it can sell any amount, that means a firm can sell any amount or any quantity of output, but the condition must be that the price must be same, it should not change. So, under such a kind of condition, firm's average revenue and marginal revenue will be same only. Why? Because price is constant and equal to their curves coincide in a horizontal straight line. Now, if we see the curve, this is the quantity or units which are sold and this is price. So, if price is same, we can see price is equal to average revenue. Why? Because price and average revenue is same. So, price is equal to average revenue is equal to marginal revenue. Now, here we can say we get a curve as horizontal straight line which is parallel to x axis as shown in the given schedule and diagram. So, it can be seen from this schedule that price remains same at all the level of output and is equal to marginal revenue at all level of output, that is price and marginal revenue is same at all level of outputs, whatever amount which is sold, quantity which is sold. As the result of this demand curve, average revenue is perfectly elastic. That means average revenue is not changing, it is actually same according to whatever the level of output which is sold by the firm. Price or average revenue will be same at all level of output. Second relationship is between total revenue and marginal revenue. Again, the conditions should be that price remains constant. when price of the commodity is constant, then firm can sell any quantity of output, as we have discussed in the previous topic, at a given price fixed by the market. So marginal revenue curve and average revenue curve is a horizontal. We know that average revenue and marginal revenue curve, which we have discussed in the previous one, is a horizontal straight line parallel to x axis. So total revenue also increases, but at a constant rate. Now here we can see units which are sold, price which is constant only as the condition says, total revenue which is increasing but at a constant rate, that is 10, 20, 30. That means the difference between all the total revenue, whatever we are getting after the level of output, it is constant, that is it is the addition by 10 only. Now since marginal revenue remains constant, total revenue also increases but at a constant rate, and constant rate means 10 only. Due to this reason, the total revenue curve is a positively sloped straight line, and as total revenue is 0 at 0 level of output. That means when there is no level of nothing is sold, total revenue will also be 0, because the firm will not receive anything in that case. So the total revenue curve starts from the origin. It starts from the origin here and it is rising upward, that is it is positively sloped straight line only. Now next is relationship between average revenue and marginal revenue once again, but here the conditions is when price falls with rise in output. That means as the output which is sold by the firm one after the other, so the price of the particular product, because of the conditions of demand and supply, the market price is falling, okay, if it is decreasing. So what will be there, or what will be the condition? So when price falls with rise in output, then average revenue also falls and marginal revenue also falls but at a much faster rate. That is marginal revenue will fall at a much faster rate than average revenue curve. So as a result, both average revenue and marginal revenue curve slopes faster and downwards from left to right, and this can be explained with the help of this schedule. The first we can see here in schedule is the units which are sold one after the other, but average revenue, that is the price which we say, it is falling, that is 10, then 9, then 8 and 7 and 6. But what we see that total revenue which is increasing only. Why? Because total revenue which we are getting, that is average revenue into price or units which are sold. So it is 10, 18, 24, 28 and 30. If we multiply this, we will get this particular total revenue. What we notice in marginal revenue, it is also falling, that is 10, 8, 6, 4 and 2. Why? Because price is falling. If we see the curve, this is marginal revenue curve and this is average revenue, and what we notice that the steep marginal revenue curve is falling at a steeper rate than average revenue curve. So this can be explained with the help of, in the above schedule, both marginal revenue and average revenue curve falls with increase in output, that is as output is increasing but price is also falling with that. So however, the fall in marginal revenue which is at much double rate than average revenue. Now you can see, notice the fall in marginal revenue, that is 10, 8, 6 by 2, and total revenue which is increasing. So double than in average revenue, that is marginal revenue falls at a rate which is twice, that is marginal revenue is falling at a twice a rate or more double rate than average revenue. Now falling in average revenue, it is by 10, 9, 8, that is by 1. But here the falling rate is by 2, that is in marginal revenue. So which is twice the rate of fall in average revenue. As a result, marginal revenue curve is steeper than average revenue curve because of the difference which we notice here. It is by twice and here it is by 1 only. Now next is relationship between total revenue and marginal revenue again, but here also condition is when price falls with rise in output. So when more of output can be sold only by lowering the prices, only by decreasing the prices, if such condition arise in front of the firms, then revenue from every additional unit, that is marginal revenue which we will get, it will be decreasing, it will be falling again. So when marginal revenue falls and remains positive, that means there are conditions that marginal revenue is continuously falling but still remains positive, then total revenue will also increase but at a diminishing rate. Now here we can notice the units which we are selling one after the other. Average revenue, that is price which is falling, that is 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5 and 4. What we notice here in marginal revenue, that it is 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 0 and -2. That means at particular point of time, as price is falling, the units which is continuously sold by the firm, by selling every additional unit, the marginal revenue is falling after selling each and every additional unit. Time comes when marginal revenue will be 0 and after that it will be at negative. But what we notice in total revenue, it is increasing, but after this stage, that is when marginal revenue is 0, total revenue will also diminish. Okay. Now as per the schedule, till the 5th unit, that means till the 5th unit of output, marginal revenue which we see is positive, it is falling but remains positive. Total revenue here also increases 28 and 30 at a diminishing rate. In figure, the total revenue curve increases. Now if we see in the curve, total revenue curve is increasing till point P, which is at its maximum, and till point P as long as marginal revenue is positive. Now here this marginal revenue curve, this particular curve is also positive only till point P1. Okay. After that it will be in negative now here, and after that it will be in negative. When marginal revenue is 0, that means at this point of time when marginal revenue is 0, total revenue is at its maximum, that is 30, starting from 10 and it is 30 all. As per schedule, at the 6th unit, now here at the 6th unit if you notice, marginal revenue is 0, total revenue is maximum. So in the curve if you notice, total revenue is maximum at point P and marginal revenue is maximum at point P1, it is falling actually. So after this particular point, that is P1, marginal revenue will be negative and total revenue curve after this point P will be falling at a diminishing rate. So we can say as per schedule, after 6th unit marginal revenue not only falls but also becomes negative, due to which the effect of it is total revenue starts declining after point P. In figure, when marginal revenue becomes negative after point P1, if it is become negative, then total revenue also falls after point P. So thank you, this much only. Dear students, we will meet again in the next video.